Welcome back. So I know we're kind of sidetracking into Bootstrap right now, but I want you guys to be able to make some pretty UIs. So I want to just show you at least one more thing before we really start using Bootstrap. And if you go on documentation, if you go under layout and you go under grid, this is a very important part of Bootstrap. This is how we lay out our components using the grid layout. So think of every page, every piece of content as 12 columns, right? So we have 12 columns that kind of split up each of our views in the application. So right here, if we have a view here, this would be column 1 maybe, column 2, column 3, column 4, up to 12. That's the 12 columns we have available. Now the rest of the space is outside of the view right here because that's for the container that grabs some space for us. So let me try and show you how we can actually kind of work with these columns depending on the screen size. So this is kind of, if you have a very small screen, you can use this to kind of define on a small screen, how much space should, for instance, the label take? Should he take up all the space on the small screen or a small part of the space on the small screen? And if you put in col 12 right here, so 12 in the end, he'll take up all the space. And for the medium screen, that's a bit bigger. Maybe we want to, instead of have one label, we want to have two labels. Then we would put in two labels and say they would both have col SM6, right? Then they would have half the space on the screen. For the bigger screen, maybe we want to be able to put in instead of only two labels, we want to put in 3 labels, and all of them would have col MD4. And maybe for the larger screen, we want to have even 4 labels, and they would have 3. And for the huge screen, we'll just put in 2. And now you see, we kind of, depending on the screen size, we can get more and more labels in there, right? Let me try and show you this in a different way. So if I scroll down to one of the examples here, I think this is one of the good ones down here where we put in col SM8 for this part, and now you'll grab one. You'll grab 2/3 of the real estate of the screen, right? And here you grab 1/3 of the screen because you put in col SM4. And here we're putting in the same for each of them without any definition, and that means they'll take up 1/3 each of them, right? So that's how you can use it. Let's try and use it in our code. So jumping into our code, we have a row right here, and inside the row I'm going to add a div, and there I'm going to just say for this guy, I want to grab up all the space, col MD12, like this. So I'm grabbing all the space for the button right here, and let's just put in 2 HRs in here. So it's just horizontal lines just around the button, just to show you how we're actually grabbing the space right now. So jumping into my code now, you'll see that this is actually the space that I'm taking all the way over here. So I'm grabbing all 12 columns available for this application right here. Let me just try and show you if I decided not to use all the space, but only 8 columns right here. Jump back and notice now it only has 8. So it stops right here, and this is just not used right now, right? So this is how you can kind of control it. And let's put in 12 again, and let's just add another div right below it that we're going to use for the card soon. And let's just keep the HR in there and say the next div down here is going to get only 8 columns. Whoops, 8 columns like this. And let's just have a look at what we actually get right here using this setup. Now we have another one with 8 columns, and let's just add, for the fun of it, a last div right here that's going to get only 2 columns, but I'm not going to put anything in this guy, and add one more that's going to get the remaining 2. What's going on here? There we go. So this guy's going to get 2 columns. We're not going to put anything in here, and this guy's going to get the last 2 columns, and we're going to put an HR in him as well. Now what you'll see is, let me just try and jump into the code here, that we have a space here now for 2 columns. And that's the grid layout for you. Now, right now it's just the lines I'm putting in here, but you can use this for pretty cool things, and it's a very easy way to lay out our components. For instance, let's say that I wanted this guy to be part of a label, then I wanted a space, and then I wanted another label over here. That's very cool. It's very easy for me to work with this. So, see you in the next lesson where we'll work more with this. Have fun.